Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel to the weekend video. As you can see, we are working on 3D printing stuff, and some of you might recognize these symbols, these depictions, because I took them from the franchise that I actually did art from before on this channel. It is from Lords of Magic. In this case, it is the symbols of the 8 different factions in the game that I reused for a D&D riddle that I put my players through on the weekend. I'm gonna talk a bit about that. I'm also gonna talk a bit about the whole process, because I started using not really a new tool, but I started actually like looking into a tool that I knew for a long time, but I never actually went and did the whole thing. So first, currently we are looking, or I'm working on the life symbol, and let's talk about the tool first, because you will see this a few times, especially in this. The tool that I used is the Boolean tool, which is in the surface modeling tab, and what it basically does is it takes 2 different objects and it creates a multitude of options for interjecting them. You can weld them together into one. You can make a cutout of one from the other. You can only copy or only have the interjecting part. You can only have the non-interjecting part of these welded together into one. Basically, you can use objects and make a new object from those. And what I used this for is basically for the first object that you currently see. The hexagon crashed here, but that is what it is. The Boolean operation is kind of complex, so there is a high chance that it actually crashes if you don't use it correctly, as seen by me here. What I wanted to do is basically make a sigil stone, like a stone. And the stone displays the symbol of the faction. So for the start, I made the stone that you can see, relatively simple. You will see this a few times because I made each stone unique. And then I thought about, okay, I want to basically have a plaque on this with the symbol for the face. In this case, the star of the light faith. This was basically the first one I started with, because I actually wanted to just see, how does this work, how does it look? And I even went as far as to give this one materials, because I wanted to have the option, or I actually just wanted to see how this works, and I wanted the option to actually use them as 3D models. I didn't give the others any materials, because for some I would have to use shading domains, so this would actually take a lot of time to actually just make sure that everything is shaded correctly, shading domain correctly, and that the materials sit correctly. So yeah, the first one was the life faith, and the second one that I did was the earth face, because it was very simple in comparison. The symbols in itself are relatively simplistic. They are all a square, so I adapted that to a bit, and you can already see that I took a different approach with the second one. I made the stone, which has a cutout in the front, basically like a hole, or like a backdrop, and then I copy pasted that to give it a inner surface that that I used to put the symbol in. And you can see that I'm doing this here again. Basically I redid the first of the symbols, the life symbol, and yeah, the whole thing crashed. I had to do this again, but yeah, this is basically the finished version. The stones all have this setup of 2 to maximum 3 pieces. Yeah, you can see the actual stone. This is the order stone. That is very square because it's order. and there is basically the stone, which I extruded the front inwards, so I had a yeah, some kind of inlay, and then I copy pasted that inlay and made or used the inlay to use extrusion to make the symbol. In this case, we are having the death symbol next. You can also see that I named all these stones in the scene tree so that I knew which one I already made. But yeah, the fun thing is actually after the first two stones, after I played out with the first two stones, saw how this whole thing went, it was much quicker because I had understood how the Boolean tool actually works, how to set this up, and I had a idea of how I wanted the stones to look, how many parts of the stones I actually wanted to make. So this made it a lot easier to actually just finish all these stones. We're currently looking at the water stone, of course. I made sure that all these are about the same height, roundabout. And yeah, talking about the 3D printing, just very shortly, there's only 5. I tried to print all 8, as you saw in the beginning, but I only got 5 to actually come out correctly. The others are not, or didn't come out so well. So yeah, if I wanted to use all 8, I would have to do this, at least the printing again. As for the riddle, the players were on an island. This is the seafaring campaign, and the idea was that they would have to find these magic stones hidden on the island as part of a riddle to get a thing, to get a treasure. Basically, they said, hey, we heard of this island with a stone tablet and we want to check it out, and was like, okay, this is gonna be a riddle one. The stone tablet is actually telling of a test, of an exam, so to speak, that the characters would do, or one of the characters would do, and the others could of course help. And if they manage to get around the riddle and get all these stones, they would be they would get a thing. And in this case, the character was chosen by Bloody. Basically belongs to a bloodline, apparently, that is eligible to do this test. And they had to find hidden shrines on the, or more or less hidden shrines on the island, to and find these stones, with the caveat that basically only he can see these stones, but the other characters were given options to find these stones as well if they passed an Arcana test, or basically that. My original idea was, my original expectation was that the group would stay together, do this as a group. I also had the idea that some of these stones would be hidden behind fighting puzzles, some of them would hidden behind other things. But since I have to shorten the campaign a bit, out of game reasons, I decided I'm not going to put each stone behind a single challenge piece, or behind a single challenge. That was my original intention, to have 8 stones, and each is behind a different challenge that they have to overcome on the island, but for time reasons I decided not to do that. and they actually they finished the riddle, which I actually did once before with another group. The other group did not finish the riddle. Sadly, the first one who to try this did not finish the riddle, but the second one did. So yeah, this is what I did this week. Here are the actually 3D printed models. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.